Welcome to In My Own Words, presented by AARP Georgia. I'm your host, Deborah Tyler Horton, AARP Georgia State Director. For the next 30 minutes, we'll take a look at the careers and journeys of individuals who are disrupting the aging process and living their best lives. We hope you will find these conversations informative and inspiring. Kathleen Bertrand, nonprofit executive, jazz singer, Atlanta native, and Spelman grad. Kathleen, great to see you.
Thank you, Deborah. Glad to be seen. and you're looking fabulous. You're looking
You
fabulous.
as well, loving the red lipstick.
Yes, ma'am. It's a thing. Thank you.
Kathleen, I have to tell our listeners first, Kathleen and I met a few years ago when I attended my first Bronze Lens Women's Luncheon. I was new to Georgia and I was invited as a guest. And somehow when I arrived, there was no place for me to sit. That's what happens when you're new in town, right? And finally, they set me at the front table right next to Kathleen, and we started to chat.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that was the best thing that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Kathleen, do you remember that?
I do. I do. You were absolutely, when I knew who you were in the room. My table. Of course, my table. Come on, Deborah. Yes.
So and ever since that first meeting, we've had just an amazing experience sharing opportunities and participating in events together.
Yes,
But Kathleen, I want to talk about 2020. It was quite a year.
yes,
The
ma'am.
pandemic, the elections,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
so much unrest in our country.
Yes, ma'am.
And even though 2020 is behind us, everything else rolled right into 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's fair to say that we all needed to get a handle on self care
Hmm.
as we found ourselves and our friends and family take on new additional roles like teacher, caregiver, along with working from home for so many of us. It's quite an adjustment, and it still is. Just the
Hmm.
fact that we're having this conversation from our homes and not in person.
That's right. Yes.
So, Kathleen, it'd be great. Can you share how you managed to get through last year and continue through this year? What kept you connected and grounded?
Oh, well, the internet was my best friend because it connected me to my best friends. Once I found out about some of the platforms that were out there, I started calling friends and saying, let's have lunch together. You in your house, me in my house. Let's talk about, what you're eating, I'm eating, but let's just remain connected. So being able to see people, even if I couldn't be with them, was helpful. My children, being able to see them, even if I couldn't be with them, was helpful. Music was very soothing for me, for my spirit. And so I never stopped singing the entire time of 2020. I was always doing something or working on some project because we had this ability now to work with musicians in ways that I had not before because we were all virtual. So a lot of new relationships or new ways of keeping relationships came from being at home and with a computer, and that's all I had. I cooked a lot at first, and then I had to slow it down because I cook really good and my food tastes really good, and I was eating it all.
You're gonna have to share some of those recipes with me. And
I'll be happy
I
to.
I did a lot of cooking too. It's not necessarily a good thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I had to slow that down. And I just kept using the opportunity to make myself better. So self-care isn't just the physical, it's
Mhm.
the spiritual, it's the mental, It was getting involved with political things that I could do from my home, from my computer, contributions, making phone calls, writing postcards, you know,
Oh, yes.
all of those things that I may not have had a chance to do under normal circumstances. The pandemic gave me that flexibility to do those things. And then running Bronze Lens Film Festival, which
Oh.
was a virtual event for the first time. And
And
having
if that
decided,
adjustment, huh? That adjustment coming from that
oh my
in-person
God,
to virtual.
yes, it was so quick because we were still trying to see the lay of the land as late as mid-May. But by
Mhm.
mid-May, it was obvious that we weren't going to be back to any sense of normalcy by August, and that was our usual date. So we went ahead and just announced in May that we're going to be virtual. That gave us 3 months to pull it together. And
Oh,
I have had and I have the most amazing team of women who really found the platforms, found what we needed to stream our films, did a lot of back end work when it came to interviewing and pre taping and all of that. But it came together beautifully. The festival was wonderful. I had one filmmaker say of the festivals that he observed, he enjoyed Bronze Lens the most. So, of course, I loved that. But we just had a great team that really took that really hard pivot to virtual, and we were able to make that happen. And by the time that was over, Deborah, then I got an invitation to do this wonderful event called a couch concert. And I'm like, a what, Deborah? What's that?
yeah. So we were all during that time. We were all learning how to pivot, from in person to virtual, including the AARP.
Yes,
And you're right; those couch concerts were a way to still engage our members and our volunteers from the comfort of their home. But
yes.
Kathleen, I want to ask you, in this process, did you learn anything new about yourself during this time?
Did I learn anything new about myself? Well, I learned that I was okay being by myself.
Oh,
I'm
that's
always,
important.
I'm always thinking, I got to do this, I got to be here, there, and the other. And
Mhm.
the quiet times that I had were really valuable times. Time for self-reflection or time to work on a favorite project that you hadn't had a chance to get to. And so I found that even though I had a lot of time, all of it was very valuable because I had things that I wanted to accomplish. And some of those things were just about me or just with me, you
And
know.
that's okay.
It's
That's
okay.
okay.
Right.
Well,
And giving yourself permission for that. You have to
that's
give
right.
yourself permission for that.
It's important. Well, you mentioned AARP and you doing the couch concerts with us. And just this March, AARP sponsored Sisters in Song for Women's History Month. And
Yes.
can you tell us how this amazing group of artists came together?
Absolutely. Sisters in Song is a concert that I have produced since 2017. And the purpose was to not only honor the great jazz legends, female jazz legends during Women's History Month, but also to uplift and gather together some of the finest jazz singers of this time who I happen to know, and they happen to live in Atlanta. And and to show women working together and doing things in a positive way together, and to kind of break down those myths that women don't work well together. And so that was the dual purpose. We started in 2017 at the Ray Charles Performing Arts Center, and we did two in 2017, 2018. We didn't do 2019. We were just coming back in 2020. In 2019, we went to Charlotte. 2018, also, we went to Charlotte. So we were just coming back in 2020. And the weekend that the concert was scheduled at Cascade United Methodist Church was the weekend that everything got shut down for the pandemic. So
Well,
it
hold it
never,
right there. I want you to hold it right there. Everything got shut down for the pandemic. We're going to take a break. And when we return, we'll be joined by the stars of Sisters in Song.
Right now, AARP's work is more important than ever. We hear older Americans loud and clear, and that's why we fight for what they and their families need. Access to health care, affordable prescription drugs, opportunities to save for the future, ending age discrimination, a healthy, financially secure, fulfilling life. That's what AARP fights for because that's what everyone deserves. Join us in fighting for what's right.
What would you call a joy that knows no bounds? That is as solemn as it is sweet, with an outpouring of soul that connects us. Joy in resilience, joy in creativity, joy in happiness, joy in strength. What would you call a joy that knows no bounds? A joy supreme. AARP celebrates Black joy. Visit us at aarp.org/Black community.
Welcome back. I've been chatting with Kathleen Bertrand, nonprofit executive and jazz singer, about self-care during the pandemic. So, Kathleen, let's continue your thought there. Now, you said the group came together during the pandemic, and what happened?
we came together before the pandemic. We were about to have our next Sisters in Song concert at Cascades United Methodist Church in March of 2020. And 2 days before the concert was to be held, Georgia shut down. The pandemic had hit, or the effects of it had hit. And we weren't able to come together last year at all. So coming back together this year in 2021 has just been a marvelous experience. And I'm very grateful that we could continue to do Sisters in Song.
And we at AARP were so excited to be able to sponsor Sisters in Song this year. So I'm
Thank you
very
so much
excited.
for that, Deborah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathleen. So now I'm so excited. Joining us are the stars of Sisters in Song: Carmen Bradford, Rhonda Thomas, and Julie Dexter. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for joining us. I want to take a moment and have you introduce yourselves. Let's start with Carmen.
Hello. It's so lovely to be here with you. I love it that Kathleen included me on this show. I've wanted to do it for the longest, and it was really exciting.
Thank you, Carmen. So glad to have you. Rhonda.
Hello, I'm Rhonda Thomas. How are you all doing this evening? Thanks for having us. It's been awesome to be a part of Sisters in Song since 2017. And each time we meet more sisters and we fellowship and just love on each other. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And Julie.
Hi, my name is Julie Dexter. Honored to be here, honored to be on your show. Kathleen, it's always an honor to even be in your thoughts, much less have the opportunity to work with you. So thank you.
And we're so happy that we were able to support you all in performing during this pandemic in the virtual space. So Kathleen, thank you for introducing us to Sisters in Song. Thank you so much.
And a big shout out to the Rialto Center for hosting us, hosting our space. Yes.
Yes, yes. So let's talk a little bit about self-care. And in your own words, can you share with us how you were able to take care of yourselves and others during the pandemic? And even if you might have learned a little bit something about yourselves during this process. Can we start with Rhonda?
Sure thing. I've learned that I'm way more resilient than I thought I was. I was always a multitasker, just doing lots of things, but during the pandemic, they were purposeful. I became a poll worker because it was just so important that I became part of the political process. I'm still a speech pathologist at a children's hospital, so that never stopped. And, you know, performing at my home, recording and learning my recording materials. My mom lives close by, and I have to admit, I became a toilet paper hoarder. And I was collecting toilet paper and paper products and giving it to my mom, and I'm like, we have to hold on to this. And she was giving it to her friends, and I was like, come on, what if something happens? And then I was trying to order a freezer, and they were on back order. And then I realized, you know what? The creator has a master plan. It's going to be all right. And here we are. So I've got closer to the creator. I learned more about me, and all is good in the world.
Thank you for sharing, Rhonda. Carmen.
Yes. Well, it was I travel quite a bit. I tour quite a bit. So I had been on tour 45 weeks prior to the COVID shutdown. And so to be at home for this length of time has been enlightening. My mother moved here with us from New York City, and so it's been wonderful having her here. It's wonderful to see my husband for a change. I've cooked every day, if not 2, 3 meals a day, and I've written some music, and which is really saying something. I've had writer's block forever, and it's really been great to teach. I'm a professor at San Francisco Conservatory of Music, and it's been really wonderful and great to be home.
Well, thank you so much, Carmen. We're hearing these stories. I hope our listeners are connecting to some of what we're sharing, because that adjustment of being at home now. And I hear a lot of cooking. Julie,
Yeah.
what have you been up to?
I guess to follow on what all the ladies have said, definitely I think a word would be appreciation. Appreciating things that we just fail to appreciate just because we're so busy doing whatever it is we choose to do, whether it's in the work mode, motherhood mode, business mode, artist mode. It's like a conveyor belt, and we've been on it for so long. I feel like, and I feel like the pandemic kind of like halted the conveyor belt. I feel like it stopped everything. And for some people, it was a good stop, just like just in a whole other direction. They've been having a good time. It's been really good for them. They would tell you it's been a great time. They've had all positive things, and there's other people. It's been a little nightmare. It's been a disaster. It's been financially very crippling. Relationships, a lot of relationships and stuff, but because people haven't been used to being around each other in so many close quarters, in such close proximity for such long periods of time. Children, I think I want to focus on the children because their mental health, their concern, their worrying, their unknowing, it's like imagine just being, I don't know, a child in the apocalypse or in that kind of situation. You just don't know. You want your reassurance. You want stability. You want somebody to tell you it's going to be okay. So I found I've taken on this role of even with my son. My daughter's not even home right now, so I'm trying to be there for her from afar because she's away boarding school. Right? But my son, I remember at the beginning, he kept saying, "We're gonna be okay. Everything gonna be okay." And I kept trying to tell him, having faith, but not really knowing, not understanding the magnitude. Even the word pandemic, I remember thinking, like what is that? Not having to look it up, but like, how does that affect me? How does that affect my family? How does that affect my friends? My mother on the other side of the world, my friends in England, and my family, we're all affected by this thing in a way that we've never in our lives lived before. It's a new conversation, and it was just, I think, the dauntingness of it. But with all of that, I've still managed to be positive. I've still managed to find lights. I've still managed to be like, wow, we're still so blessed, even during the pandemic. I still feel that, I don't know if that's the artist thing, maybe because I didn't have what I call a traditional job per se. We're survivors anyway. We're hustlers anyway. We have to go through, when there's 2 people in the audience, and with the blessing when there's 2,000, we understand that. So that's not new to me. But it's when the whole world is suffering, everybody else is, that's new to me. And I think that's the biggest thing I've taken. My takeaway has been self-care in a time where everyone else is also trying to take care of themselves.
Yeah. Julie, thank you for sharing. It's so important for listeners to understand that they're not in this alone. And that's what you shared. And so I want to thank you for that. Kathleen, uh, could you recommend how folks could stay in tune with themselves and be connected to their loved ones during this period. Do you have something that was just this worked for me?
Yes, a couple of things worked for me. One was a morning check-in, you know, just kind of going around the family, knowing who gets up late and who doesn't, and just kind of seeing if everybody's okay. Some days it might be text message, some days it might be phone call, some days it might be WhatsApp, days it might be Facebook, but connecting with everybody daily was very affirming for me, to just kind of hear their voices, know that everybody is okay. That was very affirming for me. The other thing I would say is taking time to be in a meditative or spiritual moment. For some people, it might be reading the Bible. For others, it might be an affirmation. But just taking the time to carve that out, to just affirm that you are and that you're breathing through this time and that we made it yet another day
Yeah.
and that there's still much to be grateful for in spite of whatever the challenges might be. Those two things really helped keep me in balance.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Did anybody else want to share just something that really worked for them during this period of time?
Okay. Self-help, self-care as far as drinking more water. I don't like water. Julie and I used to check in all the time. Did you drink your water? Did you drink your water? No. So I carry this big jug of water and I try to finish it. I'm not the one that needs to see the water, how much you drink. It needs to be a closed-in container. So drinking water, taking my echinacea and golden seal. I started that in 2020. And honestly, I don't have allergies. I've always suffered from allergies. So really taking my vitamins, trying to work out, drinking water, taking soothing baths. I love baths, bubble baths. That's been really nice too, because I'm not a huge pedicure, manicure person, but we weren't doing that during the pandemic anyway. But that's about it.
Well, thank you, Rhonda. We appreciate that. And that self-care piece, I know, we have so much more we're taking on. We know that Rhonda shared about working with our children more and helping them to understand what's going on. For me, I'm home every day with my husband and trying to give him space when he's used to me going to work. We're all in the house together for long periods of time. We're used to traveling. We're not doing that anymore. So all of these little things, but for others to understand that we're all struggling through this together. So reach out, call on one another, talk to them. I love the morning check-ins, Kathleen. Those are phenomenal. Anybody else want to share something that they're doing that's really working for them?
I'd like to share that, like for me, I think the art of conversation has been lost because we've literally been caught up with like technology is like taking over. Like you'll be in a room, 4, 5, 6 people, and everybody's on their phone. And I don't know if the pandemic necessarily helped that. I think it actually didn't help in the sense that people were more so on their phone. I found I was making more of a conscious effort to be like, Makai, put down your phone. Let's do something that doesn't involve your device. Let's, whether it's travel, hangman, just word games, ABC with the alphabet, place, country thing, animal, just stuff that involved us and not communicating with each other, because I too was guilty of it. Like, I can't tell you how many times, Mama, you're always on your phone. And then I'm like, you're always on your device. So we're both on it.
Yes.
We both like it's like an issue. Like it's like, okay, there's a problem here. We're both highlighting there's something here that we're always doing. And I think that prompts the other person to keep doing it. So if we both make a decision not to, then we don't do it. And I found that during the pandemic, we had more conversations, we played more games that involved pencil and paper, like I said, like board games, the Scrabbles, the Monopolies and stuff. And it brought us together. I felt like the devices literally tore us apart. I've said that with a lot of parents, kids now who've just been lost in devices, is taking away our children, literally. That, like, they have more time with this screen, with literally strangers, than they do with people that know and love them, because of that power of the device right now. And I feel like the pandemic was either opportunity to either make that worse in your house, or to literally, highlight that this is a problem and let's find something else to do, seeing as we're going to be in the house together. So I think that was the biggest change in our house. Like, we have to play some kind of game that doesn't involve a device. If a weekend, which involves, we play one game and then next thing we're playing 5 games. Like, it's easy because it's fun.
Thank you.
The art of it. So.
Thank you, Julie, so much. And it's so true. Our children are now sitting in front of a computer all day instead of in school where they had breaks to go outside and talk to friends. So we have to be creative at home. Carmen, I didn't want to leave you out. I wanted to make sure if there's any last thing you wanted to share that just really worked for you.
Well, it's so nice to hear, and it's so refreshing to hear how everybody has handled this, because I'm up at 4 a.m. every morning, or 4:30. My body does not allow me to sleep any later than that. And it works out because I just have dozens of emails to return, and I teach school all day, and at San Francisco Conservatory of Music, but also private students across the world. And my day is really, really loaded, even today. I mean, it's just packed with lots of things to do, and I'm getting ideas now. I think I'm going to get in the tub after we finish this.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our conversation has been not only helpful for our listeners, but helpful for each other. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you, ladies, so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. I wish you the very best and look forward to hearing you perform again really soon. Kathleen?
Yes.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you for introducing me to these amazing women, and I hope we stay connected. And to our listeners, I want to say just stay tuned, because Kathleen is getting ready to take on a new role and be part of the AARP team as the AARP Atlanta spokesperson.
Oh, wow.
Kathleen, we're so excited.
Congratulations.
So stay tuned. More to come on that for sure. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, ladies. It has been a pleasure. To our viewers, to learn more about AARP Georgia and our upcoming events, please visit www.aarp.org/GA. Thank you, take care, and stay safe.